Dr. Thalia Novak stared at the readings on her quantum monitoring station with disbelief. The energy signature she detected shouldn't exist, at least not according to every physics textbook ever written. Yet there it was, a clear violation of what humanity considered impossible, a faster-than-light propulsion signature. The monitoring station, nestled in the peaceful mountains of Chile, had picked up the anomaly just after midnight. Thalia's colleagues at other stations across the globe began confirming similar readings within hours. Whatever this was, it wasn't a glitch in their systems. Dr. Ramesh, you need to see this. Thalia called to her research partner. Dr. Arun Ramesh had been with the Quantum Propulsion Initiative since its inception 5 years ago. He shuffled over to her station, his perpetually disheveled lab coat trailing behind him. The wavelength pattern. It's like nothing we've ever seen before, she continued, pointing to the oscillating lines on her holographic display. It's as if something out there is bending space-time itself, but with precision we thought impossible. Arun adjusted his thick-rimmed glasses and leaned in closer. The energy requirements for this kind of signature would be astronomical. No power source we know of could sustain it. Exactly, Thalia replied, her dark eyes reflecting the blue glow of the display. Which means either everything we know about physics is wrong, or we're not alone. Arun finished her thought, his voice barely a whisper. The discovery sparked a firestorm within the scientific community. Within days, the International Space Agency called an emergency meeting of its top researchers. Thalia found herself in a secured conference room in Geneva, surrounded by the world's leading experts in quantum physics and aerospace engineering. Director Julian Blackwood, a stern-faced man with silver hair and a reputation for being unnervingly direct, stood at the head of the table. Ladies and gentlemen, what we're about to discuss doesn't leave this room. 2 days ago, we received confirmation that the signal Dr. Novak detected is approaching our solar system. Murmurs filled the room as holographic projections materialized above the conference table, showing the trajectory of the unknown object. It was decelerating as it approached, which ruled out any natural phenomenon. Dr. Novak, you're our leading expert on quantum propulsion theory. What are we looking at? Blackwood's piercing gaze fixed on Thalia. She stood, her hands steady despite the weight of the moment. The signature suggests a drive system that creates what we might call a bubble in space-time. Rather than trying to overcome the light-speed barrier directly, this technology appears to bend space itself around the vessel. Like the Alcubierre drive concept, someone asked from the back of the room. Similar in theory, but far more sophisticated, Thalia explained. The energy signature shows evidence of quantum-level manipulation we've only theorized about. Whoever built this has solved problems we haven't even properly formulated yet. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Humanity had just received irrefutable proof that not only were they not alone in the universe, but they were far behind in the technological race. A young researcher named Oliver Zhao raised his hand. Could we replicate this technology? Before Thalia could answer, the building's emergency systems activated. Red warning lights bathed the room in an ominous glow as Director Blackwood received an urgent message through his neural link. The object has changed course, he announced, his voice tight with tension. It's heading directly for Earth, and it's accelerating. The holographic display updated, showing the object's new trajectory. It would reach Earth in less than 24 hours. Humanity's first contact with an advanced civilization was about to begin, ready or not. As the room erupted into controlled chaos, Thalia remained focused on the energy signature readings. Something about them seemed familiar, like a half-remembered dream. In the patterns of the quantum fluctuations, she sensed not just technology, but intention. Whatever was coming wasn't just passing by. It was looking for something, or someone. The next 24 hours would change everything humanity thought they knew about their place in the universe, and Dr. Thalia Novak would be at the center of it all, whether she was ready or not. The Zylaxian vessel materialized in Earth's orbit with a ripple of displaced space that sent every sensor array on the planet into overdrive. Dr. Thalia Novak watched from the secured bunker beneath Geneva as the first clear images appeared on the quantum imaging displays. The ship defied conventional design logic, a shifting geometric structure that seemed to phase between states of matter. "It's beautiful," Dr. Arun Ramesh breathed, his usual scientific detachment forgotten in the face of such extraordinary technology. The vessel's hull appeared to be composed of interconnected crystalline structures that pulsed with internal energy. Director Blackwood strode into the room, accompanied by Commander Lucia Santos of the United Earth Defense Force. "We're receiving a transmission," the commander announced, her weathered face betraying no emotion. "It's being broadcast on multiple frequencies, including some we didn't know existed." The message came through in perfect English, though no one had detected any scanning or analysis of Earth's communication systems. A holographic figure materialized in the center of the command center, a tall, elegant being with iridescent skin and eyes that seemed to contain swirling galaxies. "We are the Zylaxian Collective," the being announced. "We have detected your quantum awakening. It is earlier than anticipated." Thalia stepped forward, drawn by an inexplicable familiarity in the being's energy signature. It matched the patterns she'd been studying in her research, patterns she'd thought were theoretical impossibilities. "I am First Observer Naira," the hologram continued. "We have come to prevent a catastrophe." Director Blackwood took charge of the conversation. "What catastrophe?" "We've only just begun to understand quantum propulsion technology." Naira's expression shifted in a way that seemed both alien and deeply concerned. "Your species has reached a critical junction point. Your experiments with quantum manipulation have created ripples in the fabric of reality that we cannot ignore. You are dangerously close to discovering the quantum breach protocol." Dr. Zhou, who had been quietly analyzing data in the corner, suddenly looked up. "The patterns in our recent tests, they're not just about propulsion, are they? We've been accidentally tapping into something else entirely." "Correct, young one," Naira responded. "Your species possesses a unique characteristic, an ability to intuitively grasp quantum mechanics in ways that took other civilizations millennia to develop. It makes you both brilliant and dangerous." Thalia's mind raced as she connected the dots. Her recent breakthroughs in quantum field theory hadn't just been about faster-than-light travel. They'd accidentally stumbled upon something far more fundamental about the nature of reality itself. "The drive signature we detected," she said, stepping closer to the hologram. "You wanted us to see it. You've been watching us." "We have been observing many potential spacefaring species," Naira confirmed, "but none have progressed as rapidly as humans. Your understanding of quantum mechanics is unprecedented. The patterns you've discovered in your research, Dr. Novak, are the first steps towards something that could either elevate your species or tear apart the fabric of space-time itself." Commander Santos moved closer to the hologram, her military training evident in every measured step. "Are you here to stop us? To prevent us from developing this technology?" "No," Naira replied, those galaxy-filled eyes fixing on Thalia. "We are here to guide you. The choice of how to proceed must be yours, but we cannot allow you to proceed blindly. The consequences would be catastrophic." Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the facility. Oliver Zhou's voice cut through the chaos. "Multiple quantum signatures detected. They're not Zylaxian." The hologram of Naira flickered with what appeared to be concern. "They have followed us. The Nexus Dominion. Those who believe that emerging species should be prevented from achieving quantum awareness. We had hoped to reach you first." The bunker's reinforced walls trembled as something massive displaced the space above Geneva. On the monitors, a new ship appeared, angular, aggressive, and radiating an energy signature that made the quantum sensors scream in protest. "Dr. Novak," Naira's voice had taken on an urgent tone. "Your research has brought you closer to understanding the true nature of quantum reality than you know. The choice that lies before humanity now will determine not just your fate, but the fate of entire regions of space-time." As if to emphasize the point, The new vessel above them began charging what could only be weapon systems. The quantum readings were off the charts, suggesting technology that could tear apart the very fabric of reality. Director Blackwood turned to Thalia, his usual composure cracking slightly. "Dr. Novak, it seems your theoretical research just became humanity's most practical concern. What do you need?" Thalia looked from the readings of the hostile ship to the Zalaxian hologram and back to her own quantum field equations glowing on a nearby screen. In those numbers lay not just the future of human space travel, but apparently the key to powers they had barely begun to comprehend. "I need access to the quantum core," she said firmly. "And I need everything you know about the quantum breach protocol," she added, turning to Naira. "If we're going to survive this, we need to understand what we're really dealing with." The choice that would determine humanity's future now rested on the shoulders of a quantum physicist who had only wanted to understand how the universe worked. The irony wasn't lost on Thalia. Sometimes understanding came at a price none of them were prepared to pay. The quantum core hummed with an otherworldly resonance as Dr. Thalia Novak interfaced with its holographic controls. The facility's underground chamber, normally cold and sterile, now pulsed with energy that seemed to blur the line between reality and theory. "The quantum breach protocol isn't just about faster-than-light travel," Naira explained, her holographic form shifting through subtle spectrums of light. "It's about understanding the fundamental nature of consciousness and its role in shaping reality." Dr. Arun Ramesh worked furiously at a nearby console, correlating data from the hostile Nexus Dominion ship still looming above Geneva. "Their weapon systems operate on principles we've only theorized about in quantum chromodynamics. They're not just breaking physical laws, they're rewriting them." Commander Santos monitored the tactical displays with growing concern. "We have 18 minutes before their weapon system reaches full charge. Whatever we're going to do, it needs to happen fast." Thalia's fingers danced across the quantum interface as she integrated Naira's insights with her own research. "All this time, we thought we were studying propulsion, but we were actually touching something far more fundamental. The quantum field doesn't just respond to observation, it responds to intention." Oliver Zhou looked up from his analysis station. "Dr. Novak, the patterns in your original research, they weren't just mathematical coincidences, were they? You were unconsciously tapping into this deeper level of reality." "Precisely," Naira confirmed. "Your species has an unusual ability to intuitively grasp quantum mechanics. Where other civilizations spent millennia developing rigid frameworks, humans simply reach out and touch the quantum fabric directly." The facility shuddered as another energy wave from the Dominion ship penetrated Earth's atmosphere. Director Blackwood received urgent reports through his neural link. "They're not just charging weapons, they're attempting to alter local space-time properties. If they succeed, everything within a 1,000-kilometer radius will be trapped in a quantum loop," Naira finished. "Time itself will become meaningless within the affected zone. It's how they eliminate potential rivals without violating the letter of universal law." Thalia's mind raced as she integrated the new information. Her original equations about quantum propulsion had been incomplete, not because they were wrong, but because they were addressing only a fraction of what was possible. The real breakthrough wasn't about moving through space. It was about understanding how consciousness itself shaped the quantum fabric of reality. "Dr. Ramesh, remember our failed experiments with quantum entanglement last year?" Thalia called out. "We thought the results were errors because they showed feedback loops in the quantum field. The ones that seemed to respond to the observer's expectations rather than standard quantum mechanics." Arun's eyes widened. "They weren't failures at all. They were proof that human consciousness can directly influence quantum states. The Dominion fears this ability," Naira explained. "Most species require extensive technology to manipulate quantum fields. Humans appear to have an innate capacity for it. With proper understanding, you could potentially bypass millennia of technological development." Commander Santos stepped forward. "That's why they're attacking now, before we fully understand what we can do." 14 minutes to full weapon charge, Oliver announced, his voice tense. Thalia's hands moved faster across the quantum interface as new understanding flooded her mind. The equations weren't just mathematics. They were a language, a way of communicating directly with the fabric of reality. And humanity had been accidentally speaking this language all along, through their scientific intuition and theoretical breakthroughs. "I need direct access to the quantum core," Thalia announced. "Not through the interface. I need to connect directly." Director Blackwood shook his head. The energy levels would be lethal. No human has ever survived direct quantum core exposure. No human has ever understood what they were really connecting to. Thalia countered. "The quantum breach protocol isn't about technology. It's about consciousness reaching out to touch the underlying fabric of reality. And I think I finally understand how to speak its language." Naira's holographic form flickered with what might have been approval or concern. "You understand that this attempt could rewrite your very existence. The quantum core will respond to your consciousness in ways we cannot predict." Thalia looked at the readings from the Dominion ship, then at her colleagues. The choice was clear, even if the outcome wasn't. If we don't try, there won't be an existence to rewrite. Open the core chamber. As the massive shielding began to retract, revealing the swirling quantum energies within, Thalia took a deep breath. Everything in her scientific career had led to this moment. Not just understanding the universe, but reaching out to touch it directly, to speak with it in its own language. The quantum core's light bathed her in impossible colors as she stepped forward. Behind her, she heard Oliver counting down the minutes until the Dominion weapon would fire. But ahead of her lay something else entirely. A door opening onto the true nature of reality itself, waiting for humanity to step through. The quantum core's energies engulfed Dr. Thalia Novak in a cascade of impossible light. Time seemed to stretch and compress simultaneously as her consciousness expanded into realms of perception she hadn't known existed. Through the quantum field, she could sense the Dominion ship above, its weapon charging with enough power to tear a hole in reality itself. 8 minutes to full charge. Oliver's voice seemed to come from both moments ago and years ahead, the quantum state bleeding through normal temporal perception. Dr. Ramesh monitored Thalia's vital signs with growing amazement. Her neural patterns are shifting. It's as if her brain is restructuring itself to process quantum information directly. Through the quantum interface, Thalia began to understand what Naira had meant about human intuition. The mathematical equations she'd spent years studying weren't just descriptions of reality. They were fragments of a vast language, a way of communicating with the universe itself. And humanity had been accidentally learning this language through their scientific discoveries, stumbling upon words and phrases of cosmic significance. "The Dominion ship is detecting unusual quantum fluctuations," Commander Santos reported. "They're adjusting their weapon protocols." Director Blackwood watched as new data streamed across his neural link. Every quantum sensor on Earth is going haywire. Whatever Dr. Novak is doing in there, it's affecting quantum fields on a global scale. In the swirling energies of the core, Thalia began to see patterns within patterns. The quantum field wasn't just a mathematical construct. It was alive in its own way, responsive to consciousness in ways that transcended traditional physics. The Zalaxians had learned to speak to it through millennia of technological development. But humans had been born with an innate ability to whisper to reality itself. The breach protocol. Naira's holographic form flickered with increasing urgency. She's not just understanding it, she's becoming it. Through her expanded consciousness, Thalia could sense the truth. The quantum breach wasn't just a method of faster-than-light travel or a weapon of mass destruction. It was a fundamental insight into the nature of reality, the understanding that consciousness itself was deeply woven into the fabric of the universe. The Dominion feared this knowledge not because of its destructive potential, but because it meant that technological superiority wasn't the only path to cosmic advancement. 5 minutes, Oliver announced, his voice tight with tension. Thalia reached out through the quantum field, her consciousness brushing against the vast weapon above. She could feel its underlying principles, the way it sought to twist space-time into a knot of endless recursion. But she could also sense something else, a fundamental flaw in the Dominion's understanding. "Dr. Ramesh," she called out, her voice echoing strangely through the quantum energies. "Do you remember what you said about our failed experiments? About how they responded to expectation?" "Yes," Arun replied, puzzled. "The quantum states seem to align with what we thought would happen rather than standard probability." "Exactly." Thalia's consciousness expanded further. "The Dominion's weapon works by imposing rigid mathematical rules on space-time. But reality isn't just mathematics. It's alive with possibility, and human consciousness naturally speaks its language." Through the quantum field, she could sense the Dominion ship's crew reacting with alarm. Their sensors were detecting something they'd never encountered before, a species that could reach into the quantum fabric without massive technological infrastructure, guided by intuition and understanding rather than brute computational force. Commander Santos' tactical display suddenly lit up with new readings. "The weapon's charge is becoming unstable. Whatever you're doing, Dr. Novak, it's working." But Thalia barely heard her. In the quantum core, she was touching something far more profound than weapon systems or propulsion technology. She was sensing the living mathematics of reality itself, the way consciousness and quantum mechanics dance together in an eternal pattern of creation and observation. 2 minutes, Oliver's voice seemed to come from a great distance. Director Blackwood received urgent updates through his neural link. "Quantum fluctuations are spreading globally. Every particle accelerator, every quantum computer, every piece of advanced technology on Earth is responding to whatever this is. She's not just affecting local space-time," Naira observed with what might have been awe. "She's teaching humanity to speak the universe's native language. This is what we hoped for, and what the Dominion feared." Through her expanded awareness, Thalia could sense the truth of those words. The quantum breach protocol wasn't just about breaking physical laws. It was about understanding why those laws existed in the first place, and how consciousness itself played a role in shaping them. Humanity's greatest strength wasn't their technology or their weapons, but their ability to reach out and touch the quantum fabric of reality with their minds, to speak with it in its own tongue. As the Dominion weapon reached its final charging sequence, Thalia prepared to put this understanding to the ultimate test. The fate of Earth hung in the balance, but so did something even greater: humanity's first steps into a deeper understanding of their place in the cosmic dance of consciousness and reality. 1 minute remained on Oliver's countdown when Dr. Thalia Novak made her move. Through the quantum core's swirling energies, she reached out not with technology, but with pure consciousness, touching the fabric of reality itself. The Dominion weapon hummed with devastating power above Geneva, but Thalia could now see its fundamental weakness. It relied on forcing reality to obey, while she had learned to dance with it. "The weapon is at 98% charge," Commander Santos reported, her voice steady despite the tension. "Whatever you're going to do, Dr. Novak, it needs to be now." Through her quantum-enhanced perception, Thalia could sense the Dominion crew's growing confusion. Their sensors showed impossible readings, a single human consciousness reaching into the quantum field with more finesse than their most advanced technology. She could feel their fear, not of destruction, but of something far more threatening to their worldview, proof that their path wasn't the only way to the stars. "Dr. Ramesh," Thalia called out, her voice resonating with new harmonics, "initiate the quantum field synchronization. Not through the computers, through your mind. Remember those patterns we discovered? They're not just mathematics. They're thoughts." Arun hesitated only a moment before closing his eyes and focusing on the quantum equations they'd studied together. To everyone's amazement, the facility's quantum sensors registered a clear response, another human consciousness reaching out to touch the universal framework. 30 seconds, Oliver announced, but his voice held wonder rather than fear. Director Blackwood watched in astonishment as more quantum fluctuations appeared on his neural link display. All across the planet, Human scientists working with quantum systems were unconsciously responding to Thalia and Arun's breakthrough. Humanity's latent ability to speak reality's language was awakening. The quantum breach, Naira's holographic form, pulsed with excitement. It was never about breaking physical laws. It was about understanding why they exist and how consciousness shapes them. Through the quantum field, Thalia felt the moment the Dominion weapon reached full charge. But instead of fear, she felt a profound sense of clarity. With her newfound perception, she could see that their weapon wasn't just a tool of destruction. It was an expression of their fundamental misunderstanding of reality's true nature. Now, she whispered, both to her colleagues and to the quantum field itself. In that moment, Thalia did something that the Dominion's rigid technological approach could never achieve. She asked reality to dance. Instead of fighting against the weapon's attempt to create a time loop, she embraced its energy, redirecting it through the patterns that human consciousness had naturally discovered through scientific intuition. The result was spectacular. The Dominion weapon's energy, instead of crushing space-time into a recursive knot, blossomed into a new form of quantum expression. The sky above Geneva lit up with aurora-like patterns as quantum fields realigned themselves, responding to the gentle guidance of human consciousness rather than the brute force of alien technology. Impossible came the first transmission from the Dominion ship. Your species has no right to this understanding. Understanding isn't about rights. Thalia responded, her consciousness still merged with the quantum field. It's about being willing to learn the universe's true language. Humanity didn't force this breakthrough. We discovered it by listening. Through her expanded awareness, Thalia could sense the impact of this moment rippling through space and time. The Dominion's weapon hadn't just failed. It had become a catalyst for humanity's first true step into cosmic citizenship. All across Earth, quantum researchers were beginning to sense the deeper truth behind their equations, the living mathematics that had been waiting for consciousness to evolve enough to perceive it. The quantum barriers are shifting globally, Oliver reported, his voice filled with awe. It's as if reality itself is responding to us differently now. Director Blackwood received confirmation through his neural link that quantum experiments worldwide were showing unprecedented results. Humanity's understanding of physics wasn't just advancing. It was transforming into something entirely new, a synthesis of scientific rigor and conscious intention. The Dominion ship hung motionless in orbit, its weapon systems powering down as its crew confronted a reality they had never imagined. A species that could achieve through intuition and understanding what they had spent millennia building technology to force. This is why we sought you out. Naira's holographic form smiled, not to prevent you from advancing, but to witness this moment. Humanity has found its own path to the stars, not through domination of natural laws, but through harmony with them. As Thalia stepped out of the quantum core, her consciousness still resonating with the deeper patterns she had discovered, she understood that this was just the beginning. Humanity had taken its first step into a larger universe, not through technological might, but through their unique ability to understand and speak with reality itself. The quantum breach protocol hadn't been about breaking physical laws after all. It had been about breaking free from limited ways of thinking about those laws. As the Dominion ship retreated and celebrations began around the world, Thalia knew that humanity's greatest journey was just beginning. Not a conquest of space, but a dance with the very fabric of reality itself. In the quantum core chamber, equations still swirled with new possibility, waiting for human consciousness to explore them further. The universe, it seemed, had been waiting for a species that could not just observe its dance, but join it as willing partners in the cosmic ballet of creation.